So picture a really tranquil morning in South Africa. You're at a wetland in Sedgefield. The golden light is hitting the water perfectly, and you can hear a Levaillant Cisticola calling from the reedbeds.
It honestly sounds like stepping into a living watercolor painting.
Right, it totally does. But nature is, well, it's rarely just a pretty picture. So today's deep dive is going to shatter that illusion a bit.
Yeah, we're going to unpack a trip led by guide Ben Fuchsia on March 12, 2026.
Exactly. Our mission today is to look at the hidden, hyper-competitive mechanics of survival that are operating, right beneath that serene surface.
Because it is the ultimate deception. I mean, we see beauty, but the wildlife just sees this relentless caloric equation.
Oh, wow. That's a good way to put it. Okay, let's unpack this. We start at the local bird hide.
Right, and at first glance, there's a Malachite Kingfisher just peacefully preening in those golden morning reflections. It's majestic.
Very serene.
Yeah, but moments later, a Pied Kingfisher completely shatters the calm. It spends over a minute violently battering this massive fish against a hard surface just to swallow it.
Which, that sounds brutal. It's like flipping the channel from a tranquil nature documentary straight into a gritty action movie.
That is exactly what it's like.
But if you think about the physics of it, a bird that size trying to swallow a rigid, spiny fish whole, it's like a human trying to chew through a tire for breakfast.
Right, it requires an immense mechanical breakdown just to consume the calories.
Exactly. But the really fascinating part of this morning wasn't even the brute force. It was this quiet calculation happening right next to the water drama.
Yeah, this much stealthier micro-adaptation happening less than a meter from the observers.
Right, the female greater double-collared sunbird.
Yes. Instead of, burning calories hunting through the heavy bush, she was just hovering at the window of the bird hide.
Just casually picking insects out of a spider's web.
Exactly. She literally outsourced her foraging to a spider.
That is so wild. It completely flips the script on how we view human intrusion in nature. Like, we tend to assume wildlife merely tolerates our structures, right? Or maybe they just avoid them.
Right, but she turned the human-built hide into the scaffolding for her own personal buffet.
Which is just brilliant.
It's active exploitation, plain and simple. She's conserving vital energy by letting the web do all the trapping for her.
And that concept of energy conservation becomes even more critical when we follow this expedition from the wetlands into the dense, dark shadows of the nearby forests.
Yeah, leaving the sunlit hide behind and plunging into the deep forest.
Which brings us to their hunt for the elusive Nisno warbler. And here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, definitely. Because the catch here is that it was well past breeding season.
Right. So attracting a mate or defending a territory was no longer biologically necessary.
Exactly. So the bird had dropped its familiar trilling call to conserve energy and stay hidden from predators.
It was entirely silent. Wait, so how do you even find a tiny, silent bird hiding in the dark bush?
Well, if your target refuses to make a sound in heavy brush, you can't just stare harder at the forest and pray you get lucky. The biology of observation has to shift entirely.
Right, because you lose that auditory tracking.
Exactly. You have to rely heavily on pattern recognition and peripheral vision to catch, microscopic breaks in the natural movement of the undergrowth.
So Ben, the guide, he knew the exact microhabitat to target based on his foundational knowledge, right?
Yes, but he couldn't pinpoint a silent bird alone.
So it required the client to actually spot that subtle physical movement.
Which highlights something super important. Successful observation in nature is deeply collaborative. The guide maps the territory, but the observer has to execute the sensory shift.
A perfect synthesis. You combine the expert's predictive mapping with the observer's active visual processing.
And it clearly pays off. I mean, that single morning yielded an incredible cross-section of life.
Oh, for sure. From a surprise African jacana flyover to forest gems like the Narina trogon.
Yeah, and the Nisnet Tarako, and even an adult jackal buzzard.
It's just amazing. So if you want to experience that kind of intense golden light discovery in the forest and lakes for yourself, you can read more and book a trip with Ben over at www.birdwatcher.co.za.
It really changes how you perceive a morning walk. The sheer density of unseen survival strategies happening simultaneously is just staggering.
It really is, which leaves a fascinating question to chew on, actually.
Oh, what's that?
Well, if a sunbird is already cleverly hijacking human bird hides and spider webs to survive a quiet Thursday morning, how are our sprawling urban environments forcing these species to physically and behaviorally evolve at hyperspeed?
That is a very good question.
Right. Like, what entirely new, unseen adaptations are being forged right outside your window right now, just waiting for you to notice?